Hey guys, what's up? This is the Man vs. Wheelchair podcast, where we talk about shortcuts, secrets, and truths we wish we knew 20 years ago about being disabled. Together, let's take over your disability with a winning mindset and learn to live life the way you want.
Hey everybody, welcome to Man vs. Wheelchair podcast. I'm Isaac.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we were thinking about talking about dating. Josh, will you date me?
You gotta buy me dinner and a drink first.
Well, I'm actually married, so that was a trick question and you failed. But it's just that easy. So everybody, that's how you ask someone out.
That's right.
Dating is easy when you're in a wheelchair, right?
That's right. All you gotta do is roll up on them, run over their foot if you're in a wheelchair, apologize, be polite, say, "Oh, I didn't see you there," and then boom, you're in. There's never been an easier opener.
Well, this was a short and sweet podcast. There you go. No, actually, dating, I don't know about you, but dating for me, it wasn't difficult, but it was something that I had to put a lot of thought into.
True.
And I just figured today we could talk about some of these things that there's steps that we can take to make sure that the dating process, if you are disabled, can be a little bit more smooth and a little more natural feeling.
Yeah, I agree. And it's definitely a different process, I think. Something you have to get used to and first off, understand yourself first, because you need to understand your limitations, right?
Right.
And I think the first part of it is kind of understanding that if you go on a date with, probably wherever you go, and greatly depending on your severity of disability, someone's probably going to have to go with you, right?
Right. Yeah. The infamous third wheel, as they call it.
Yeah.
And whenever you put yourself in the mindset of dating and understanding your limitations on what you can and cannot do, kind of having someone that goes along with you just becomes natural. And it's natural when you're out going to the mall or you're going shopping or just having fun in general. But whenever that person needs to be there, whenever it's at a more intimate moment like dating, or a situation, I'll say an intimate situation like dating, you really have to understand that this is going to be a little bit awkward at first. But if you push through, and if the person that you're with, that you've asked out to go on a date, or if they asked you to go out with a date, if they push through as well, you'll find that the next time it might be a little bit easier, and even potentially they might not even have to go the next time.
Yeah.
The person that you're dating could take over that role, and then it could just be the two of you.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily even a bad thing that you could need help, right? So I think you need help opening doors, okay, whatever. That's easy, and it's probably better for like the second date or whatever if someone doesn't go with you. You start off with small steps. You start off asking, for small things first. So that way somebody can get used to the differences of being with someone that they potentially will have to take care of, right?
Right. Well, I know something for me, and I kind of get stuck in a rut, if I can call it that. Whenever I was dating my wife, who, now is my wife, whenever I was at my house, I was living with my parents, and whenever she would come over to hang out, I would never ask her to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
If I needed a drink or I needed my leg crossed over or
Right.
something, I would go find someone else to ask.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was embarrassment, but I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I always went to another option. And whenever you're dealing with this situation, if you can get over that hurdle faster, then you can be able to go out with someone and it just be the two of you. And I know that that was very difficult for me to do. And now, even still, I work. You know, when I'm at work, I tend to not ask people for things. I'll just do without on certain things because I don't like asking people for help.
Yeah.
If I had somebody there with me, it would be easier. So it can be more comfortable if someone does go along with you for that first date. So that way you can just go ahead and ask the person that's with you, and you don't have to deal with that uncomfortableness. And then through the night, maybe ask the person that you are dating, hey, would you mind doing that, just to kind of loosen things up and to break the ice.
True. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with, like, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's something like the law of compliance, right? So I think that this is a huge deal for people that are disabled to understand. You know, when you start asking people for things, which you're going to have to do, it's better to start asking for small things. And the more you build up on those small things to the bigger things, the easier and more comfortable it is for whoever it is you're asking to say yes, right? So it's kind of, it's in a way easing into things, which you pretty much have to do anytime you're dating. You know, you have to take it slow, and you probably have to be more conscious whenever you're disabled and dating, because you have to realize, you have to like think for both of you. And I know I'm not real sure if I was good at that whenever I started dating my girlfriend, and I'm probably not that good at it right now. but there are definitely some times when you know, you have to be able to read their body language and see and kind of gauge their comfort zone. And you know what, I'll be honest, sometimes you just have to do without, you know. And I mean, you got to be okay with that, because it's asking a lot sometimes. Especially
I remember.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I remember one time I was hanging out with my at the time girlfriend, you know, but my wife.
Yeah.
And it was me and her two sisters, and we were at the mall, and I was needing to get into the car. I have a wheelchair that folds up, and I was needing to get into the car, and none of the three of them could lift me, even though I at the time I only weighed like 100 pounds, but they were super, super embarrassed for whatever reason, or not embarrassed, but they couldn't, they didn't want to drop me. They were afraid of hurting me.
Yeah.
Well, a friend of theirs walked by, and they were like, hey, can you lift Isaac into the car? And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm uncomfortable with that, you know? And so, and that was one of those things, you know, it's like, I should have paid attention, you know, even to that, that, you know, I shouldn't be out if these people can't lift me to begin with. I don't even know how I think I went with someone else, and they decided, we met up and then went somewhere. But, you know, like what you talked about, that's something that we need to be conscious of. And I think going along with that, are you comfortable being you in public? I have to get lifted all the time whenever I can drive, but when I'm not driving, if I'm in someone else's car, I have to be lifted in and out in public. You know, my pants fall down all the time. I have all kinds of hilarious stories about, you know, being depantsed in public, but I'm comfortable with that. It's who I am, and it's not something that is going to keep me away. But it's also uncomfortable sometimes when I'm out in public and I have to eat. I don't like eating in public because I feel uncomfortable. I feel like everybody's watching me, and that's something that even still I'm getting over. Even more so now that I work, because I don't like going 8 hours without eating. So I do eat in public, but there's always that consciousness in the back of my mind of, you know, is anybody looking? Are people watching? But you just have to get to the point where you say, oh well, let them watch. And if you're out on a date with someone, don't let that be a factor. Don't let that be a problem. Don't let being with someone be a hurdle for you.
Right.
And be comfortable, be who you are. And that's when they're going to notice, is if you're calling attention to it, that's when it's going to become uncomfortable. If you just go and be yourself, it's going to be natural.
Yeah, yeah. Because, I mean, like, okay, so you're uncomfortable eating in public, right? And maybe that discomfort means that you eat, like, differently in front of your date or something. I mean, like,
Right.
what are you going to do? Change in the future? Like, you have to have that mindset where it's like, this is just how it is. There's certain things that are, like, unchangeable.
Right.
And
And I think being upfront with your date is something
yeah,
that
yeah,
is very important.
yeah, you have to be upfront. I mean, the weirdest thing for me when I was dating was, like, telling whoever I was talking to that I lived with my parents, because I was, like, I felt like I was beyond the age where I should be doing that, and it was always, like, kind of, like, weird to bring that up.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't think people care. Once they understand, let me preface that. Once they understand, I don't think people care, and they have, like, a capability for understanding a lot better than we think they do, I guess. Especially if you're a guy. And so being upfront is like the best policy, because there's nothing you can do about it. You can't fake it, and they're gonna have to realize it soon. And if there's someone that cares about it, or something small like that is a big deal to them, then it's probably not gonna work out anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, that's very true. You have to be conscious of like you said, the telltale signs. If someone is eager and willing to help you, that's something that you want to look for in a person. Not because you have to have them take care of you, but that willingness is that's what's going to last. That's what's going to
Right.
Those are the signs from being disabled. Is this person okay with helping me? Does it make them, of course it's going to be weird and awkward and uncomfortable in the beginning, but as time goes on, if this is something that is a big obstacle for them, well, maybe them dating someone who's disabled isn't gonna work out for them. And being upfront with them from the beginning, it's like, hey, I'm this way. This is how it is. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's awkward. I hope you're on board with that. And most people will tell you. And even if they lie to you, you're gonna find out real quick.
Yeah, it's not something that they can fake for very long, for sure.
Right.
And speaking of being upfront, Isaac, will you be upfront with them about the premium podcast we have coming up?
Absolutely. If you guys want to hear more stories and extra content for Man vs. Wheelchair, you can go to the website right now and put in your email, and you'll be the first to know when we launch our premium podcast. Not to mention, you'll get access to emails that we send out covering extra topics that we don't talk about in our blog posts. So make sure you guys go over there and head up and do all that.
Yep, we'll see you guys in the club, and we'll see you next episode.
Later, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Man vs. Wheelchair podcast. If you guys got this far, that's amazing, and I hope you got some value, and I want you to do one more thing for me. Go to manversuswheelchair.com and sign up to join the club. That's where we're going to give you exclusive content and more tips on how to level up in life. So go to that right now. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to hit that follow button.